Mr. Fattah.
Let me thank the chairman, and let me thank Chairman Wolf. The first thing I would say is that I believe that our nation is at a crossroads. We have significant advantages. We are the wealthiest country in the world. We are the world's only superpower. We have, through scientific and innovation and technology, we have major advantages over countries throughout the world. But these advantages are not as they used to be. They used to be absolute. They are now relative. We have come to a point in which we are no longer shadow boxing. We have economic competitors who are trying to overtake us in a variety of areas. And this bill, I believe, represents the core of our nation's efforts to ensure America's future leadership in the world through investing in science and through protecting our economy, which is the largest and most productive economy in the world, through the Commerce Department, and our constitutional responsibilities to establish justice through the Justice Appropriations and legal services. So first I want to say the one thing that I would not change about this bill is the process. Frank Wolf has involved us in the minority at every step along the way. Our input has been taken seriously, and I want to thank him and his staff. They have done, I think, an extraordinary job of welcoming and inviting comments from our side of the aisle. And I want to thank Chairman Rogers and my ranking member, whose staff has provided a lot of support. There are a lot of good things in the bill, and I want to mention a number of them. And then I want to talk a little bit about the choices that we may have made differently, or that I would seek to improve as we go through this process. Firstly, I want to thank Chairman Wolf for continuing an effort we started in FY11, which is investing in the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. This is an effort, hands-on help for over 10,000 manufacturers throughout our country. We have 11 million Americans working in manufacturing, and we need to be doing as much as we can in this sector. And I think this program is the federal government's primary flagship program in this regard. And so we've increased it to the highest level ever, and we've maintained it in FY12 with a very challenging allocation. We also have funded for the first time a program in the American Competes Act, which would provide loans to small manufacturers to help them bring technology into the plant floor. And I think that this is an appropriate effort. And the chairman talked about an effort that he championed, which I also support, which is to help with this onshoring of jobs that have been offshored through bringing manufacturing jobs back to America. I think this is critically important. There are, in the areas of science, we've level funded with actually a little small increase in some of the science accounts at the National Science Foundation. This is very important, and at NASA there is an investment in technology and in the heavy lift, and there is an appropriations for commercial crew that we'll get a chance to talk about a little bit more as we go forward. In the Justice Department, the chairman and I have worked to increase funding for the youth mentoring programs and to protect funding in the Office of Violence Against Women. So there are a lot of good things that we could talk about, and we will. There are some areas that need improvement in this bill. Let me start first and foremost with the fact that because of the allocation, now this allocation is $50.2 billion. This is $3 billion off of the FY11 number, $7 billion shy of the request. There is a very significant cut for legal services. And let me talk about this for a minute, because it's going 3 out of 4 who are served through legal services in our country are women. And through 135 nonprofits throughout the country, access to our courts for people who are in the shadows of our economy, many who are veterans, go to legal services for help. And this cut is a 26% real cut. Now, the administration requested 515. The legal services asked for 515. The administration requested 450. We're somewhere in that $300 million number, which is, we were at 404 last year in FY11. This is a very significant cut, and I would hope that's an area where we can find room to improve as we go through the process. There are other areas that we'll get a chance to go through as we work through these amendments, but the COPS program, the state criminal alien effort that I know a number of my colleagues are interested in on both sides of the aisle is an important area. The James Webb and the need to maybe look again at what we're going to do about investing in American enterprise and believing in American enterprise relative to commercial crew, which we'll talk a little bit more about. This crossroads that our nation has arrived at is one in which we have a responsibility. Now, I know that there's talk that our responsibility is to cut federal spending. I think that this committee's responsibility is to position our country to continue to lead the world. That's going to require us to make investments, similar to those that have been made by previous generations that have positioned us for our world leadership at this moment. And sometimes America has done this at the toughest economic times. We've made investments in science, in education, in our economy, and it has paid off for us as a nation. So I know these are very difficult times. The allocation, I think, creates a major problem for this bill, but we have to think anew about where we want to be relative to our economic competitors, and I hope that we'll get a chance to make improvements in the bill. But there's no improvement that could be made in the process. I thank Chairman Wolf for his cooperation and his effort, and I look forward to us moving this bill along, Mr. Chairman, as you move the other bills along, and I know that we all appreciate returning to regular order. Thank you.